Alrighty, it's live, so let's do the clap. Three, two, one. Welcome to the Hunters Hub. This is a video game podcast born in the Monster Hunter community, which I usually forget to say at the beginning episode. This is your host Fortuan, joined by co-host Ace. How you doing, man?
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
I like how muted that was when he did it. It was they took as much as it's a sad thing that they didn't ask Charles Martinet to do his voice. I understand why, because they're Hollywood and they want star power behind it, but I'm not unhappy with the way Chris Pratt did it. They toned his personality down quite a bit, which could have been considered like stereotypical racist of Italians. So, you know, I'm okay with the direction.
It just sounds like Chris Pratt to me.
It certainly does.
It
Yes.
just sounds so much to me like Chris
It's
Pratt doing a bad Italian
it's
accent.
like it's like Chris Pratt with like a bay leaf of Italian accent thrown on it. Like just
Right.
just boop.
No, actually it sounds like Chris Pratt with like a generic store brand Italian seasoning
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, Italian seasoning on his
And
chicken.
it's all like dried out and boring.
Yeah.
Barely does anything for the dish. Whereas like Jack Black, Jack Black is like a lively like pepper, a nice
Yes.
picante as it adding spice
I felt
to
like
it, and it feels fun.
yeah, but that's Jack Black, right? Like you can't he's amazing. He's always
Oh yeah,
amazing. Um I don't know.
and then
This is definitely the thing that one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is the Mario movie. So,
yeah, this was my piece that I mentioned as we were speaking before the show
yeah.
that I wanted to bring up because there's quite a little bit around it. I mean, they've also got the voice actor for Cyborg from the Teen Titans animations as the Penguin King,
Oh, okay. Sure.
which I enjoyed that opening scene where they all come running out and they frame it like they're starting to wage an epic battle, and then they're
Yeah,
just throwing snowballs
and
at him as he stands still,
and
and then they
Bowser's just
take out a
standing there. Yeah.
Koopa with a
Catapult,
larger snowball and like a trebuchet.
right? Yeah. Just just
Do
totally hit
you
him.
yield?
Do you yield? No. I love how it was just like Jack Black playing his what was his band? Is it Tenacious D?
Tenacious D.
Yeah, it's just over the top Tenacious D personality as Bowser. Like
Hmm.
I just yeah, I love it. Um
And a lot of people are giving questioning how much money Nintendo dumped into it because a lot of people are pointing out that the animation and like the shading and stuff looks really good on it compared to other Illumination movies.
I mean, they only want the best. They
Right.
had Miyamoto working with them directly for the whole
Hmm.
time. Like it's not uncommon for for like a studio to use like an original creator. Um
Yeah.
so I learned because of um Jared, my friend who owns the game store. They do a video game convention every once in a while to promote their store and some other things. And they were across from the original guy who created Rampage, the video games.
Hmm.
And they were talking about how they heavily consulted him on the Rampage movie, which is the one I like that everyone calls crap with the rock in it, but like I like
Hmm.
it because it's got so many Easter eggs and so many callbacks to the Rampage games that
Hmm.
that are just there. Um, come on, dog. And Um, it's just it is nice how they are actually using that material to create something. Like
Hmm.
in the Rampage movie, it was like the fact that like the big final girl that was the bad guy was wearing the red dress, which is the girl in the red dress that you eat. That is like a big thing in the game, and like there's a part where Lizzie, the alligator, in the movie, but uh, iguana or a gecko or something like that in the games goes through a building, and you see like a perfect hole where it goes through the building. That's like a normal thing in the games where they just punch the building and there's like perfect holes like where windows used to be and stuff, and
Hmm.
it's just how it is. um yeah, so I was trying to talk and send the notifications to the Discord. It didn't work out too well. There we go.
Yeah,
That's it.
and then in addition to this, Nintendo launched their official website for Nintendo Pictures because they acquired the animation studio Dynamo Pictures.
Okay, I didn't see that. Huh. So Nintendo movies.
Second,
So is that what we mean by
look,
pictures?
yeah, it looks like according to the article, they might be entering the animated film game.
Hmm.
So
I mean, Sony already has a
looks
hand in that. Sony does a lot. I mean, Sony's responsible for stuff like Hotel Transylvania. So,
yeah, so it looks like they might be joining the fold, as it were, and might be creating animations for more of their IP.
I mean, obviously they're working with Illumination for this project, but which
Hmm.
I always like Illumination. I think they do a good job. So, I'm not surprised that it looks really good. But
Hmm.
having their own studio, I could see that too. Because did you ever watch the Pikmin shorts, the Pikmin movies?
I have not.
My dog is freaking out. Um, they're really high quality. They're really good. There's one
Hmm.
where the Pikmin come up on Olimar as he looks like he's chopping up Pikmin and putting them in a blender and drinking them. And it's literally just carrots and radishes that he's chopping up
Yeah.
and putting in a blender. But it's like it's played out as this like funny kids, cartoony movie that was done really well. It's a really short one, but there's a couple of those Pikmin shorts, and they used to be available to buy on the Wii U with Pikmin
Hmm.
3. And Miyamoto had a direct hand in those as well. So I'm not surprised that they're trying to branch out into this, which most of the time I would be like, hey, stay in your lane and do what you do with video games, but they're big enough they can afford to spread out like that, I believe.
Yeah, so it looks like coming off of Detective Pikachu being relatively successful, and then this one possibly being successful, it looks like they're looking to get into more. And I mean, it makes sense. The Witcher and the Witcher animated movie that they had, Sonic the Hedgehog, the Halo TV show, The Last of Us coming out, makes sense. There's a lot of success going around in terms of video game adaptations of
Mm-hmm.
live and animated content. And I mean, seen the having already seen the trailer for The Last of Us HBO series, it looks pretty good.
I have not, but I probably won't watch it because I am nowhere near as invested in that series as you are.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a tattoo yet, so
But you're getting there. There is a plan.
eventually, eventually.
Wow. So, Mario movie, I will say, what do you think this is going to do? Because I think this is going to be huge. Like, I think this is going to be. like a huge movie. Just already.
I mean, it definitely looks like it'll do well because they didn't go the whole live action route and have, you know, guys in Mario outfits, Mario and Luigi outfits, and it.
Hey, that was the 90s. This is today.
I know, I know.
And I like those movies,
So,
regardless of what people say. Or that
so it looks
movie.
like it'll do pretty well. I'm guessing it'll probably be #1 in the box office for at least maybe a month, because I'm sure there will be a lot of families going to see it. So you got to figure that's how many
Yeah.
tickets per group of per family that are coming in.
I don't know what else is going to be competing with it, to be honest, but there's going to be other movies out, obviously. I just don't know what they are.
Here, let me pull up the old IMDb.
Does it actually have like a release schedule? I don't use
Yeah.
IMDb other than for actors most of the time.
Oh yeah, I used to be more into it, and I used to like go out and look at the release calendar to see what was on slot for like several years. Because it's a little bit more subdued now.
Got ya. Well, with, studios trying to be more secretive about what they have and what they're doing. Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes because they have surprises or whatever. Um, that's that makes sense. Sorry, audience, if I'm a little tired today. We were at the Renaissance Festival all day. I've
Ooh, nice.
I've been home for about 3 hours, and then I spent two of that probably napping, maybe an
Hmm.
hour after I got the kids dinner. Like it's just, I'll tell you what, being a single father at the Renaissance Festival is a level of energy that I may not have. Because you get like you're in a crowded place with your kids that want to go see everything,
Yeah.
and you got to keep your eye on them. Although we saw some really cool costumes. There was this lady who was dressed as a satyr, um, and she wasn't just like, oh, I have like these horns and some makeup on and this outfit. It was like her feet were in these high heels where her toes looked like hooves, and you could tell. And you know how satyrs they have that goat foot that goes back. That was the rest of the heel. So she was standing on her
Mhm.
the ball of her feet with her heel being like the back of the satyr foot. Like,
Yeah.
and it was just like, that is amazing. I stopped her and I was like, your costume is amazing. And Cece was like, I love it. Like, it was, there were some amazing costumes there. Um, but it was just, it was really fun. Met up with my friend Brian, and we had like my lunch was a giant turkey leg. The girls had chicken strips and fries. Um,
Did I miss something? The hell?
Maybe I don't know. That's kind of why I started talking about the Renaissance Festival. But you were looking at that. Um, I made a joke though because there was a lot of very revealing costumes there, and I was like, as a single dad, it was very stressful,
Yeah.
but also as a single dad, it was a very nice time.
Fair enough.
What I said as a single dad, it was stressful, but as a single guy, there was a lot of nice costumes. I think is what I said. Yeah,
Oh, it's coming in 2023. So wait, do they even have that on the list?
I don't know. I'm not the IMDb expert.
I mean, I'm not either.
You are more than me. You're the de facto one.
Yeah.
That's that's about as much as my argument as I can give on that one. I do like how the Toad does this fake out of like, "Don't touch that," that could kill you.
Yeah.
It was so good. And I kind of enjoy that it is sort of like an origin story for Mario that we're seeing in the theaters because
Hmm.
most people wouldn't know, I guess, you know, that aren't gamers.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know. I'm so into the gamer mentality that I'm like, no, everyone knows who Mario is and what his deal is. Like literally everyone. And
Yeah.
I'm not aware of how much people wouldn't know because I've been, you know, I'm 34 now. I've been 32 years into gaming, so
True. Yeah. So it looks like we'll have to wait to see when it gets actual slated release date because it looks like it's just tentatively scheduled for
April,
2023, expected April 7th,
yeah, April 7th is what the trailer said. So
which this I guess they are kind of keeping release
if if they do,
releases under wraps because
yeah,
this only goes up to like January of 2023. It doesn't reach out to April.
okay. So we don't know. Like I'm not aware of any movies that are coming out next year, other than maybe there's some Marvel movies that are probably slated on their
Um,
timeline.
Black Black Panther Wakanda is I think November. I saw it on this list just a second.
Wakanda Forever.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
11/11. Make a wish.
11/11. Oh boy, Skyrim Day. Um,
And then it looks like there's a Lego Spider-Man movie that is coming out too on the
Lego
31st
Spider-Man.
of
I never heard of that.
December.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to contact our ISP because this lag on Twitch shouldn't be happening. Really, it's just me in the house and the girls. They're all
Yeah,
away at Paul Bunyan show.
looks like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish
Mm-hmm. I know
is
about
coming
that
out the
one.
21st of December.
So that'll
Avatar: The
probably
Way of the Water is coming out December 16th.
okay. So it might have some things that are still around in April, but they'll be waning at the at best.
Yeah.
Because I could see Avatar having a long run. I mean, how like the original Avatar ran for what almost a year? Like it was
Well, they're also,
huge.
from what I understand, they're re-releasing it in theaters
The
to
original
like
Avatar, yeah.
catch people up or get it back in people's heads.
I really,
Um,
really liked Avatar back when it came out, but these days I'm just sort of like, meh, it's okay. I'm not super, I don't know, super into it.
uh,
Yeah, my
go back
internet has been
forward.
bouncing around even before we started recording. I hope it
Yeah,
holds out
my
today.
laptop's also slow, so that isn't helping me get these things. I think I saw. Is this Fable, the actual Fable video game?
Okay.
Looks like there might be a Fable movie. I'm double checking here.
I've heard of such thing, but I haven't really looked into it. Fable,
Yeah,
that was a franchise, and it's one I've never played.
yeah. Also, sort of loosely going into politics, they're coming out with Till, which is centered around Mammy Till, the mother of Emmett Till. I don't know if you know Emmett Till at all.
No.
Um, he was a young black boy from Chicago in, believe
Oh, I've seen ads for
the
this.
50s,
Yeah, and
where
he got lynched. He got beat to
yeah,
death. Yeah. Yeah, I saw the ads for that movie.
and it looks like it centers around his mom's fight for justice and
Justice,
change.
yeah. Yeah.
'Cause, I
Very
mean,
sad. I when we went to go see, what did we see? Was it Bullet Train? When we saw Bullet Train in theaters recently, that ad came
uh,
on, and my mother, I'm very emotional, but my mother is much more so. And the trailer made my mom cry. That trailer.
I mean, that's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
he was only like what 14, 15,
Yeah.
so like just a kid, and he completely suffered a horrible fate because of a bunch of racist people.
In the
But
50s. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, even so,
No,
still
didn't make it
horrific.
right. Didn't make it right, but it isn't, we're not talking about this happening today, thankfully. But it's still it's a history piece on something that actually happened, and we can assess it, I guess. So, man,
Yeah.
my nose is really
I mean,
itchy.
her approach to it, I mean, it definitely took a lot of courage and strength to
Oh yeah,
decide to go open casket after what those men did to him.
yeah, yeah, and that's a statement. That's a statement to show that to people
Hmm. So
because
I don't know if you know anything about the Fable series. Uh,
I know some.
which siblings Rohan, Giada, and Calliope have been on the run constantly ever since the drowning that killed them all 4 centuries ago, trying to survive in an ever-changing world when the three of them always stay the same. The siblings switch jobs and towns and identities the same way others switch coats and hats.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not that familiar to know what that is. I was more familiar with the mechanics, not necessarily the story.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I never play the game, so I can't. I that
That you know what?
doesn't seem like the game to me.
If Sasha was here and wasn't sick, she might be able to give some insight because those are Xbox games. They were,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen them on Game Packs. I
yeah.
just haven't gotten
I
them
don't
yet.
know if she ever played them though. We'll have to ask her next week. Yeah, sorry, audience. She's out this week. She was not feeling well. She got sick. So, and Morg isn't here because apparently it's Canadian Thanksgiving, and they do things differently there. And I made fun of him for having Thanksgiving early because we like doing it. Um, but next week we should have all four of us again. That's for sure. Next week is another Monster Hunter week, so another.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and then looks like where'd it go? Black Adam is set to
that
come out soon.
that is the one
The
superhero movie
21st.
that I'm looking forward to is Black Adam because I just want to see it.
Hmm.
Anything dealing with
Oh,
Shazam right now, I want to see it.
oh, and then did you see that? Back to the Mario movie. Did you see that a bunch of people were like talking about how Mario doesn't have an ass anymore in the
No,
movie
I wasn't.
compared to like his his video game models? How he's
Yeah,
got a
he's
more
more.
voluptuous butt in the video
Well,
games, whereas in this it's just like
he's a
straight
lot
down.
more rounded in
Yeah.
general in the games, and they made him more like Chris Pratt's sort of build, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. Not a chubby thing, but like here's just I'm not ripped, but I'm not overweight like Mario typically looks.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I did see that. I noticed it, I should say. I didn't see the discourse of people talking about it. I've been pretty wrapped up in mostly just playing Bayonetta this week,
Hmm.
um, and
Yeah,
work.
I downloaded it. I'm probably gonna start soon. The uh space. Mass Effect uh,
Oh, yeah,
series.
the trilogy. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we still have to. We are going to do that Bickering Bucks episode. I just have to. We haven't set any date or time yet at all.
Hmm.
Because getting date and times out of Brian's mouth is ridiculously hard. Like the details for today, for meeting up at the Renaissance Festival, I learned 2 days ago.
Hmm.
So I knew we were doing it, and I knew it was supposed to be today, before this, but like any sort of finer detail of like when we're arriving and what we're doing and that kind of stuff was 2 days ago.
Hmm. And then I
And
don't know if you've seen any trailers for it all, but Violent Night looks kind of funny. It's
Violent
like
Night,
a yeah, it's like a Christmas
Silent Night,
Santa Claus movie.
yeah,
David Harbour plays Santa,
okay.
and then it, from what I've seen of it, it's John Leguizamo. He plays like a thief or like a mercenary or something, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, tries to rob these billionaires on Christmas. And
Okay.
one of his henchmen tries to assault Santa Claus. So it looks like Santa Claus is going to go on a murder spree
Oh
and
no.
potentially save the family. Because I believe I didn't watch the whole clip, but I believe I saw that there was blood in it. So let me
So
just double
rated
check,
R
see if they have a rating.
or
Yep, it's
PG
rated R.
13.
So yeah,
Rated
there will
R.
be blood.
There will be
Oh
blood.
yeah, and just the still frame of it. A very bruised up looking Santa Claus just with a sledgehammer.
Oh gosh. Oh
So
gosh. That sounds
so it looks like
amazing.
it's so it looks like this won't be a children's Christmas movie to go and see.
Okay. Um. Wow.
I
So
mean, they've had other violent Santa Claus movies. Like they've had Bad Santa and stuff like that.
yes, yeah, but Bad Santa isn't like Santa, a real Santa taking out other people. Is this the premise
Oh, I
that
know.
he is Santa Claus or just a Santa? Like a
Hmm.
So he is Santa Claus. That's
And although it isn't technically, I will say the Santa Claus is also very, very violent in the way that the first Santa Claus dies. He
by
just
falling off a roof.
falls off the roof and then
Yeah.
deflates.
Well, yeah.
You killed Santa.
Yeah, I actually like those. I like the first one at least. Um,
Hmm.
but I also have a soft spot for Tim Allen. I like Jungle to Jungle. At least I liked it as a teen. So
Hmm.
maybe. So I don't know. Tim Allen, I have a soft spot for him. It just he doesn't do a lot of movies these days, but
I sort of do and sort of don't for reasons.
for political reasons, is
I wasn't mentioning it, but yes.
yeah, yeah. He's very conservative. I know that. I mean, it's very clear on Last Man Standing what his
Hmm.
what his viewpoints are. Um, but I can enjoy his art without, you know, buying into his politics.
Yeah,
I even like Last Man Standing, to be honest.
I haven't watched it.
It's pretty funny, at least I think so. Although the casting changes are real hard, real hard to deal with because you get used to like someone for being a character for like 3 seasons and then poof, his daughter is a total different person. Like season one, two cast members change forever from then on. There's like 8 seasons to my knowledge,
Interesting.
and it happens again with the other daughter. Like one of the other daughters, like actually both other daughters get changed at some point. It's as far as I know. So like the only people that stick around are basically him and the wife as far as like cast goes. But they have all sorts of callbacks to Tool Time and stuff. Like his wife from
Yeah.
Tool Time uh, is a widow who had like the the Tool Time Tim Allen die. So there's talks about how he died and what happened, and like it's canon within the Last Man Standing story. Tool Time was or something. It's just it's really
Mm.
funny. It's I don't I won't get into it. I'm still I'm still mostly just watching Blue Bloods. Actually, that's what I've been watching since I got
Hmm.
the big thing, and that's heavily political. That is very political, but yeah, police state and all that stuff, and they address it. At least I think they address it in
Yeah.
good ways. But I saw some YouTuber who disagreed vehemently, and I won't get into it. But I think his disagreements, he proved himself wrong. Like it's like he complained, like, "Hey, look, and they even talk about it in this episode. This, and this." I was like, "Yeah, they do address that it's not good in the episode. So what's your point?"
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I don't I don't know what you want. I don't like if you're asking for that thing and then do that thing and then you're still upset. Like I don't you're just upset.
Yeah. Some people talk themselves into corners, unfortunately.
Yeah. So anyways, back to what we were going to talk about. Uh so Mario movie, very excited. I think this is going to do very well. I don't think it's probably for me. It's probably going to be like a very quick buy on Vudu or something for me to watch again with the girls and watch again.
Hmm.
Hopefully, I can take the girls pretty soon to opening, but I don't. Yeah, that far out, I don't know if I'm going to have them that weekend or not. So
Yeah.
could try to make an exception. Like, hey, can I have them this week instead, or something like that? But we'll see. I am.
Yeah. And then what Blizzard shut down the servers for Overwatch and then immediately had all kinds of problems with the launch of Overwatch 2. I don't know
That's
if you saw that.
that is entirely usual. That is a Blizzard launch per se. Although I was very surprised. I thought I would know when Overwatch 2 was coming out, and then people were like, "It's out," and I'm like, "Wait, Overwatch 2 came out? What? How did I miss this?" Like,
Yeah. I mean, I didn't play the first game
I did very
and
much so
I was I
to
was
begin with.
like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That was a thing that they were working on. I didn't know that
Yeah,
it was coming out this soon."
I mean, I was aware. I was well aware of it. I just didn't. I guess I didn't pay attention to the date. Um, but yeah, there's all sorts of problems, and of course they shut down Overwatch 1 because Overwatch 2 is essentially just a continuation of Overwatch. So,
Yeah.
uh, which I understand them doing that. Although that they even there's something to be said about playing the older game versus the newer one if you don't like the newer one. I mean that's what WoW Classic is, right? That's the whole thing around WoW Classic is people reliving the old WoW days that aren't the new WoW days. So
Hmm.
you think you might have learned your lesson with that, but I guess not. um,
Yeah. And then as obviously as we mentioned last week, Stadia is shutting down, but at least Google is offering to
refund.
refund all the equipment that people bought. I
Yep.
don't know about the
I am
game side of it.
this much surprised, which is zero,
Oh yeah,
0% surprise because when that thing was announced, which I think was at Game Awards one of the years, I was
yeah.
like, I was like, no, not a thing, not happening. Like I'm having troubles talking to you, and it's just me and you over Discord and streaming it to Twitch. Like my internet
Hmm.
connection can't handle that apparently, even though it very much did when we upgraded our internet. You know what? I'm gonna do an internet test. I'm gonna see those.
Yeah, I mean that sort of goes hand in hand with the discussion that we had in my workplace about like infrastructure in the U.S. Like both like our country's cell tower connections and accessibility, and the country's infrastructure in regards to high-speed internet is very much behind other countries
Mm-hmm.
and definitely needs to be improved. Like,
It's at what we're paying for. It's actually 80 over 280 megabits per second download and 5.06 upload. It's
nice.
actually
I did the we have a 400 megabit per second one. Um,
I wish we did.
Sometimes I've seen it get between up to like 5 to 600 megabits per
Right,
second. So,
because it's never a constant thing. So,
mhm.
oh,
Whereas like other countries have high speed fiber optic stuff that is leagues ahead, and it takes very little time to download things. There's very little drop with streaming and whatnot.
yep, yep. And one of the reasons why I don't stream is the connection here. And, well, just the space. I mean, heck, you can see in the background. Still got laundry I got to do, sitting in a basket. Won't be the case when I get a place. Um, so other Blizzard news. There's more Diablo 4 talk, which I follow very closely.
Hmm.
Um, there's talks of hard release dates at this point. Um, we know because of the Microsoft conference a couple months back, or a month or two, maybe, um, that it is going to be coming out within the first half of 2023. Um, Speculation is putting it in March, so quarter one, end of quarter one. Um, there was a whole leaked like 45-minute video from the beta, from the family and friends beta,
Hmm.
that has been taken down a lot of places. I did not watch the leak because, again, I'm not really into leaks, but things were looking promising according to people who saw it for Diablo
Hmm.
4. There's been controversy about the pay model though, because it is a inbox game, like Diablos are. So like, we talk about box game, like we're paying, let's say, between 30 and 60, maybe $70 for the game, uh, and there are various bundles of like the standard, the deluxe, the super, whatever edition bundles of starting the game that give you different exclusive
Yeah.
mounts and other things. Unfortunately, as much as I love the Diablo series and as much as I love some Blizzard games, they are ultimately a company that wants to make money, and I'm at least happy that they are keeping it to cosmetics, even if they
Hmm.
are exclusive cosmetics. Um, so you don't feel like you don't get FOMO.
Speaking of cosmetics, did you see that within the Monster Hunter community, there's some strife going on
We'll get to
that
that.
apparently
We'll get to
people
that.
are kicking people out of lobbies for having the layered weapon DLC.
Yes, we will. That was another point I wanted to talk about today because we will get to that. I'm gonna get on my soapbox to the Monster Hunter community today. So
I don't know if you saw EA revealed Wild Hearts, which many people are saying uh,
yeah,
resembles Monster Hunter mixed with Fortnite.
yeah, I could see how people would say that. Yeah, but I wasn't done with Diablo yet. So
Oh,
the uh, the cosmetics also have like a premium currency, and there's a battle pass, and there's all this sort of like modern monetization things going on. A, at least there's not a subscription to me. B, it's all cosmetic. C, I will probably pay for the battle pass because I'm a sucker for Diablo. I just am. I will just do it. Um, I mean, heck, I did the battle pass for Diablo Infinite.
Hmm.
Even though I didn't play it very very long, like I played it like a week before I was like, nope, I'm out because
Right.
it's so much pay to win. It's not even funny. Um, it's just, but to be honest, that thing was designed to be a Chinese pay to win game, like from the ground up, which is was very apparent from the start. Um,
Right.
so I have a lot of high hopes still for Diablo 4. It's probably my most anticipated game. Until we might see until whatever Monster Hunter gets revealed next, then we'll see if it's my most anticipated. Um, so because when we will get in further deeper into both Wild Hearts and the the Monster Hunter things you were talking about with the layered weapon purchases. Um, my love for Monster Hunter is there and always will be there, but I'm telling you, man, they are walking on thin ice with me right now. Like, I have a lot of gripes that are still on the forefront of my mind because I've been crown hunting and playing again. So I haven't just been
Hmm.
playing Bayonetta. I have been crown hunting again, um, which is the enjoyable part of the game. But Chauncey and I did do
Uh-huh.
some more afflicted monsters, and I have no patience for it. Like, it is, and the afflicted monsters even aren't part of the problem. As much as I love the investigations,
Hmm.
I having them be have levels and leveling them up has been the most frustrating part of it.
Hmm.
Be-
Yeah, I will say it's frustrating that they get to a certain level, they give you a certain level quests, and it's sort of randomized too, so you could potentially get a
right.
quest that's like one or two levels under the required thing to be able to progress the reward system.
Or if you're in my case, I'm level 89 right now as far as that goes, that request level.
Hmm.
And I will get I will get stuff that is like 20 above my highest for that monster. I will get I will get stuff that it's like, hey, you have to grind to get this, and it's all randomized, right? Like all of it's just randomized. So
Yeah.
you get some that aren't necessarily randomized, but if you need to do like a tier one monster, and we're talking something like Arzuris, Izuchi, or something, and tier one monsters start out at like whatever level 30 or whatever, right?
Hmm.
And when you purposely like try to grind a quest to get it up, it's one at a time. So if it's at 30,
Hmm.
40 and it's asking you for a 71, like you're not making that. That's not possible.
Yeah.
Like,
And it'll cycle to the next monster that you have to progress within
right.
usually what, three quests?
Usually, sometimes it's up to 4 or even 5, I think, sometimes. I know definitely 4.
Hmm.
I'm not sure about 5. So, this whole system, and no other words for me, just sucks. Like, this whole end game that everyone's been so excited about, to me, is the most frustrating thing I've had about Monster Hunter ever in the games. Uh, as far as like Monster Hunter to me, community wise, that's the problem that we're having right now with the layered weapons. I don't necessarily have a problem with people paying for cosmetics, as I don't have a problem for it with Diablo. I don't have a problem with for it for Monster Hunter. Even the layered weapons being paid for, I don't care. If you want to spend money on that, I don't personally think they are that good to pay money for. So I will speak with my
Mhm.
wallet on this. I will not buy them. I don't care. I'm not upset that those exist, right?
Yeah.
But kicking someone out because they paid for a cosmetic or not, that's a little much, people. Let's just
Hmm.
let's just let's just take a step back. And this is like this is going back to the four ultimate days of people getting kicked for using insect glaive. That's not a reason to kick someone.
I would say it's a little bit different
It is.
because
It is a difference.
it's essentially people protesting against it, what they feel should be free, but it's punishing other players for it. When
Right.
I would say it should just begin and end at you deciding not to buy them.
Yes. You are actively causing someone else's experience to be lesser because you're upset with what the company did. That is still cosmetic. It is not affecting the game in any way.
Hmm.
And if you're going to make an argument, just say counter argument, right? Oh, they spent development resources on it when they could have spent development resources on X and Y. Um, that's just a circular argument that's never going to get anywhere because you're just going to say, well, what else would they have spent the resources on? And in insert a, you know, argument A, insert person's wish of monster and or mechanic and or other thing to be worked on instead of what they're doing. And
Hmm.
to be honest, as much as, we love the series and that kind of thing, and as much as I don't like what's going on in the end game, asking them to do something else is not realistic and or, feasible. They have their plan what the game is and they put it out. Certainly feedback is welcome and appreciated by both them and the community for them to listen to feedback. But once it's done a lot of the time. We're talking
Hmm.
feedback for the next game most of the time. Or if we're talking balance changes, like we saw that happen with Rise in general. We saw Charge Blades make a comeback that were just like garbage in base Rise. We saw
Hmm.
other weapons. I think there's been a lot of cry for Longsword being too good still. Um, I haven't really paid attention to that aspect of the community because, once again, as I always remind people, when you talk about Monster Hunter, my emphasis is on the monster, not the hunter. Most people emphasis on the hunter. So I don't tend to pay attention a lot to those weapon mechanics and balance and all that kind of stuff. I'm paying attention to
Hmm.
the monsters, which, I had my complaints because I felt like it was less monsters, and it is still less monsters, but then let's even world and Iceborne, but it's fine. I like the stuff that we're getting now. I'm not offended by the content we're getting, other than the afflicted stuff. Like the afflicted stuff is my complaint. But to be honest, this has been the same thing since beginning of fourth gen. Here is artificial difficulty number one, number two, number three, number four. Every game has one now. And I just hope it stops at some point. I just want to play the game. Um,
Yeah.
I'm having a problem with the actual content versus not having a problem playing it. I still play it occasionally, but right now it's been a crown hunt search, and I'm up in the 30s of Flaming Espinus hunted. So
Right. Um. Yeah, I've gotten a few random crowns here and there. Um. What was it? I think I was doing just a random. I think it was a three monster quest with three or two
mm-hmm.
with uh Vampire Boy Malzeno,
Yeah.
and I got the large crown for him. So slowly but surely making progress.
Well, outside of the three new monsters, I am still done. So I have, and with the three new monsters, I only have one crown so far. I have a large flaming Espinus, which was my very first flaming Espinus hunt. Was a large crown, and I got an even larger crown. Well, specifically trying to crown hunt it this past week, but still nothing as far as a small crown progress. I've gotten smaller ones that have hit the size, broken my smallest size record, but no crown yet.
Right.
And there's really only two quests that you can do, and he does appear in an expedition, which does suck because now getting expeditions to pop with a monster you need, if it is indeed the monster you have to hunt, is a problem. So I'm relying purely on the odds, the math at this point, and it's just not going in my favor yet.
Yeah. And then got title update 3 coming in late November,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're
which
already in October.
doesn't which doesn't list any new monsters. It states variant monsters and powered up monsters, so I imagine we'll probably see
More afflicted.
more Risen
Mm-hmm.
would be my guess.
Probably more risen. You're right, which I'm okay with. Honestly, I don't think risen are as bad as afflicted. Um, they actually have new moves. They're categorized as
Hmm.
different monsters. Um, have you fought risen Camillus yet?
Oh yeah. Uh, I bu- I believe my first and only time I've hunted him so far, I did it solo, and I was down to my last cart
Okay,
out of the 4 that you get. So
I've
that was a
on,
bit challenging.
I've only hunted him with Chauncey so far,
Or
and I have.
actually, no. I was down to my last cart out of 4 on Flaming Espinus
Oh, okay.
because his fireball explosions and the poison were rough
Yeah,
on me.
you have to run from those regardless. Even with my
Yeah.
guard up, it doesn't. It's not feasible. So, um, and I still cart on that quest twice every once in a while. Like
Mhm.
of the three, I think Flaming Espinus is the most difficult, honestly.
Yeah. I
Um,
like Violet Mizu though.
yeah,
I
he's
like
good.
the floating orb of destruction that it puts up.
Have you ever flinched him during that process, and it actually backfires and blows up on him doing damage?
Not yet, no.
It's fun. It's the first time it happened. I did it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Not the first time. I think it's the second time I fought him. Um, I haven't been like again. I haven't been playing a lot with Chance. It's just been he's been wanting to get back into it because the Risen Camillus is his Camillus being his favorite monster. He really wanted to try Risen. So
Yeah.
we did this thing where we have been doing essentially everything he wants to. We haven't been crown hunting, so that's why I started crown hunting on my own because he's not helping me with that. He's like, "I'm gonna play and we're gonna do what I want to do," and I'm like, "All right, I guess, whatever." So there's that. But back on my soapbox to people, don't kick people out of rooms unless they're being rude or something like, or you already have a group and you're waiting for someone. In that case, just use a password. Like, if you really have that much of a problem with people being in your rooms, just have a password. It's not that hard. That's what we do. Now we have a password that, you know, in the Discord everyone knows. It's not a big secret, but we have people join and we hunt together and stuff. Like it's not the game's there to have fun, and if people want to buy a DLC thing, I don't think that that's anyone else's problem. Like I've seen some discourse of it on Twitter where people are like, "Oh, Monster Hunter shouldn't be doing this. We've never done this before." And I'm like, um well, they didn't have layered weapons in Iceborne, did they? I don't think they did.
Um
No, they did at the end.
Yeah, I think at the end they did.
Yeah, at the end. Um, and it was only, but there was never, like it's not. I don't even layer my armor. Like, like I don't like. So I'm so far removed from this. Like, I don't even use the in-game layering for armor and weapons, let alone buying extra ones. I want to look like how I look. Like, I
Hmm.
want to look like the armor I am wearing. That's just the kind of hunter I am. I am not a fashion hunter. I will occasionally use an armor over a different one that might be a little better because I like how it looks better. Like, I like a full helm look instead of seeing my face on the game.
Hmm.
And that's a lot because, well, back in the day, people wanted to look cool and it wasn't layering, so they just wouldn't wear a helmet, which is a good fifth of your armor, and they would die because they don't have armor. So it's just scars from my Monster Hunter 1 days. But, I still prefer to wear a helmet just for aesthetics. Although,
Hmm.
did you see my set I put on Twitter that I've been using?
No, I haven't.
So I've been using full Flaming Espinus, all of it, except for the head,
Hmm.
which is Silverlose. So I'm
Fair
just like
enough.
in a trench coat and biker look with a Rathalos helm, just running around. Like I,
Hmm.
we didn't really talk about it much because you were gone, and then we had the quiz, so we haven't really talked about this update. Do you like the new change to chain crit being just called Bill? What is it called? No longer
I
called chain. It's
don't remember, but I haven't. I don't think I've used it much.
Yeah, they changed chain crit to the new. It's like blast build up or something. I don't know. It's basically the more you hit the monster, the more bonuses you get. Um,
Yeah, I know that there's the status build up, and I think that's on the Violet Mizu
yeah,
armor, isn't it?
yeah. Well, this is on Flaming Espinus. They changed chain crit to.
Oh yeah.
They changed chain crit to be a new skill. They've completely renamed it.
Mm.
And I don't. And I think they even changed how it works. To a degree. So I'm not really super. Again, this is a hunter thing where I'm more of a monster guy, but I thought that the
Hmm.
change was cool. I'm using it. There's a new skill that is really cool. I don't remember the name of it, but you build up a meter. You know when you get the lantern bug and you get that red health tick. You see the dog whining at me. Come on. Um, you build up a blue bar now, and when it's full, it'll protect you from the next attack. Period. Like it won't take any damage, excluding the big fireball by Espinus.
Right.
Like that will get through that health, but it gives you a shield. So the more you hit, you get a health shield, and it actually gives you like super armor too. So like what I like to do now, because I have to sharpen mid quest, because my new set no longer has any handicraft versus I used to have full handicraft.
Hmm.
So I have to sharpen more often. So I'll build up this health shield essentially, and then I'll sharpen when there's an attack that can go through me, and I'll take the hit to sharpen, but it doesn't do anything to me because I have the health shield, and just let myself sharpen.
Right.
So
Fair enough.
because it doesn't
I
knock you
usually
out of the
just
animation.
risk it in between attacks.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing, but I'm also being a little more lax about it because I can take the hit. So,
Hmm.
and also when you're soloing a monster, like it's just, even with the cat and the dog, like it's just, they don't always target those. They're
Yeah.
mostly at you. So yeah, I don't know. I've enjoyed the new set. I have nothing but good things outside of the afflicted stuff for Sunbreak. So, but
Hmm.
but the afflicted stuff really like is a big minus for me. So we talk about game of the year, which is we're 3 months away from talking about that. So I keep a running list, and Sunbreak kept falling and falling and falling down my list. Um, and we talked about making it a top 10 because it came off my list, and then I was like, okay, but there's enough games that I need to talk about at least 10 games. Like I've got
Hmm.
so many to talk about because we still have stuff like Bayonetta 3 coming, and
Hmm.
as much as I'm not a super big Bayonetta fan,
Excuse me.
um, this might be pretty good because I really like Bayonetta 2 as far as mechanics go, and if it improve on it further, Bayonetta 3 might be a big one for me. Um,
Hmm.
and then I still have to play Deathloop, which I'm told is super good. So I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I've got access to that on both consoles, so I might get that at one point.
It was given to me for my birthday from Brian, and I haven't touched it yet because
Okay.
he, and as you know, that's in January. So
Mm.
he was like, "Nope, you got to have this, Cham. You got to do it." And I'm like, "I'm not sure I want to. I'm not. Please don't do that." And he bought it, and I was like, "Darn it! Now I guess I have to play it at some point." But I have been putting
Hmm.
it off, and I've been putting off Horizon Zero Dawn as well, as you know. Like I haven't tried. So with me giving
Hmm.
Mass Effect a try, I should probably give that a try. And I just my gaming has become very, I don't know, felt regimented lately. And not that it's
Hmm.
a bad thing, but I'm just like, okay, I really would like to try to get things done, but I was like, I'm not leaving myself any room for like not like for in the top 10 list. If we had 5, right? I'm not leaving myself any room for some great games because at this point there are games that are going to talk about regardless. But so it might end up with this list that is like not indicative of my favorite games of the year per se, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Because I'll be leaving out these games that are really, really good that I played this year that I really want to talk about. And there's a list of 7 of them at this point that I'm like, I have to talk about this game. I was like, I gotta extend it to 10. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I've got obviously not coming out this year, but I've got Breath of the well, not Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and
yeah,
um, the new Dead Space. Well, not new, but the
remake.
remake of Dead Space pre-ordered. Those should be next year unless Zelda changes. Then I've got God of War Ragnarok and Callisto Protocol pre-ordered as well. So
Those are next year too, right? I'm pretty sure.
I believe Callisto is this year. Ragnarok. Let me.
No, you're right. Callisto is this year. See, that doesn't really leave room on my list for Callisto if I didn't have room. Like, there's room on my list now, but I am currently. This might pop up
Boy,
on.
computer. Why you?
Yeah, it's popping
Why
up
you
on.
being so slow?
Yeah, it did pop up on stream for a bit. But my running list is 8 right now,
Hmm.
and it doesn't include stuff like I might really enjoy Callisto Protocol. I might really enjoy Pokemon
No,
Scarlet and Violet.
November 9th.
That's not a lot of time to get that
So
done before Pokemon.
yeah.
Because isn't
Oh
like,
yeah. Speaking of Pokemon, have you seen Wiglet?
oh yeah, the Diglett that looks like a kazoo? Welp.
I was gonna say it looks more like a nematode from like SpongeBob popping out of the ground.
No, there was a lot of things on Twitter about the white Diglets looking like kazoos, baby
Hmm.
kazoos. I was quite amused by that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for Scarlet and Violet. The girls are over the moon for it. part of their birthday presents, which their birthdays are here in less than 2 weeks. I actually won't have them on their birthday. I'll have them right
Mhm.
after their birthdays. Part of their birthday present is Scarlet and Violet when it comes out. The other part, I got them
Yeah.
some jewelry.
And then Girafarig actually has a new evolution that
Oh, cool.
focuses more on the
The butt.
giraffe part.
Oh, the giraffe part.
Um, yeah, because you know how Girafarig has sort of the smiling tail bulb thing
Yeah, that's
that
dark.
like morphs around its head, so it's got like a sort of like pseudo mouth thing
Hmm.
over its actual like giraffe head. So an interesting evolution of a what is that, third gen Pokemon?
Yeah, it's an old one, and it's not got a lot of love. So I like how they do that sometimes, though. They update some Pokemon that need it.
Hmm.
Um, I don't get into the competitive Pokemon scene, but I do like watching videos about it on YouTube. And I
Hmm.
recently saw one how Purloin and Lepardion actually had a really um, meta like meta defining moment in
Uh,
Pokemon where they would play with assist, and the only move and if you remember do you know what assist does, the move?
no,
So
actually,
it
off the top of
takes
my head.
it takes a move from a random pool of all of your other Pokemon, fainted or not, and does that
Hmm.
move. And they have a special talent or hidden talent that any move that isn't an attack, which includes assist, because assist itself is an attack, gets +1 priority. So they get to go first than most other moves.
Hmm.
So they'll do a high powered attack at most other moves. And what they did is they used something like fly, dig, or dive. And they most use dive because there's nothing that's resistant against water moves yet.
Hmm.
So they would use dive. So what they would do is they would have dive taught to their whole team, right?
Yeah,
And
to
all of the other
up the
Pokemon,
odds. Yeah.
no, not up the odds, 100% the odds. So they would dive at priority, higher priority. So dive under, they're untargetable, right? Opponent's attacks miss. Because there's no priority on the move, the other attacks go first on the second turn.
Hmm.
Then they come up and hit. They were unstoppable. They were invincible. There was like because of the mechanics of the move, it was undone. And but it wasn't. There were certain things that could get around it, right? There was counterplay to it, but if you didn't have those certain counterplays, you're done. There's nothing you can do. You're just going to get hit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I learned about that a couple nights ago. I was like, that is insane. I don't get into competitive Pokemon play, but I do love learning about it because it is just fun. So
Right.
I learned how Purloin was soft banned and how it made assist not able to attack to get those specific moves like dive,
Nice.
dig, and fly and stuff. So yeah. So you want to hear a not in any order, just a running list of my 8 games that I can't not talk about.
Sure.
So Triangle Strategy, Mass Effect Trilogy, Starship Troopers, Sunbreak, Pokemon Arceus, Monster Sanctuary, Jurassic World Evolution 2, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and Sifu. Like, all of these games have been amazing this year. And I can't not talk about any one of those. And we still have Scarlet and Violet. We still have, you know, Callisto Protocol. We still have Bayonetta 3. We still
Hmm.
like we're not in the big game season yet, and I already have 8.
I've got a dishonorable mention already.
Oh, I have three that I was fighting for
I
a while.
It was on sale for pretty cheap. I got this uh fighter jet game off the Switch shop. Um, you can't
Okay.
you can't adjust the controls,
So it's always
and
inverted?
the no, it's not inverted.
Okay, I can deal with that better
Which
than inverted, honestly.
oh no, I'm used to inverted flight controls. I I have been struggling because I will push up on the up stick, expecting it
To
to go
dive?
down,
Yeah.
and it'll start going up, and I'm like, oh gosh, no, and then vice versa and everything. Um, and when you put on the afterburners or just speed up essentially because it doesn't like give an effect like you're actually putting on afterburners, you just speed up. It
Yeah.
like drastically reduces your maneuverability. Like
Mm.
when you're not in it, you can like turn like pretty much
However you
fairly
like.
tightly,
Yeah.
and like you would expect that with the speed on, instead of like going like that, you'd be able to go like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that,
So it's
and
like
like
half as effective as you'd hope.
yeah, and turning on the access instead
Mm-hmm.
of being able to turn like the rotate like
Mm-hmm.
that, it's like it's super like restricted, and I'm like, so far this is the worst fighter air, air combat game I've played.
Mm-hmm.
um the
Have you
I
ever
guess the anti-air ground forces are somewhat more realistic
mm-hmm.
than what you would expect because they like constantly hit if you don't use the flares right,
um
or like the chap and stuff right. But it's got like the weirdest physics, man.
yeah,
And
that can
like
really ruin
I
something.
I don't like the non-inverted flight controls because you know every single game that I've played that has done that, because I've played like World War II uh, dogfight games. I've
Yeah, I was
played
gonna ask,
Tom Clancy's Hawks and things like that.
have you played
Um,
Blazing Angels? Because those were my favorites.
that's the
The
World
World
War
War
II
II
one I
ones.
was
Yeah.
referring to. I just couldn't think of the name. Um, I don't know if you saw, but I've played Heat Seeker
Mm-mm.
on PSP and recently just picked up another copy of that because
I
one of the other
saw.
local game stores happened to have a copy for really cheap.
Yeah, I saw your tweet that showed it and Freedom Unite together. Yeah.
Yeah, even that with its really simplified controls and inverted, because you you don't have the rotation on access when you
Oh,
like turn. Your plane will automatically just
just
rotate, and then it'll
it'll
automatically shift
automatically
back to
bank.
flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, even that is better in my opinion, and it's got a lot better handling
Hmm.
than this game I've gotten for Switch,
Jeez. Yeah,
unfortunately.
because all you're doing with a joy because you fly with a joystick usually. All you're doing is rolling and pulling up and down. That's all you can do. There's no turn per se because what you're doing is
Yeah.
you're rolling and then you're banking up to turn or banking down, I guess, if you want to turn that way. But most people would do up, I would think.
Well, because pulling up,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not you're rolled over or completely up, is faster than banking because usually
You're working
the
with the forces of air
aileron,
versus against, yeah.
yeah. Plus, like the what is it? Trying to think about the technical names for these things, but like what the ailerons don't go that far down as opposed to
That far
shifting
up.
up.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's a thing. I remember from playing some flight simulators, but I'm not. That's never my strong point. So I normally like to use the up and down. Like I actually had to. In Bayonetta, there's some flight controls, and when there's a
mhm.
game like that where like there's a part when you're in the water, you turn into a cobra, and the cobra's like underwater controls are inverted by default. And I'm like,
Mm.
a cobra isn't pulling up on a stick. My brain can't dis like
Yeah.
so I want to press up to go up and I want to press down to go down. Like so I it by default they are inverted, but I purposely they'll ask you the first time you do it, do you want to invert these or not? And so I'm
Mhm.
like, please don't. Please don't. Unless I'm flying an airplane, I don't want them inverted.
Yeah. I mean, even playing a little bit of Flight Simulator, those controls are inverted as well.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, like, it's weird that this, and there's no option to change it too. I've gone into the settings for it, and you can't do that. There's only for music
Woof.
and sound.
Woof.
So, there's no option to change it, as far as I can tell, unless if there's like a separate settings menu that I just can't access.
Yeah.
And it's also very weird too because I think it must be like a gotcha tablet, like a mobile game
Mm-hmm.
that got transferred to the Switch or that got access to the Switch
Yeah.
because it's
Those
all
happen a
touch
lot.
controls too. Like you can't navigate around menus with like the arrows. You have to like tap and touch everything. So
Oh.
it's even worse with that too, in terms of just like
Uh.
the UI system.
That's
So far,
terrible.
so I'll have to look it up and see, but I imagine this is probably just a mobile game that got uh ported onto the Switch, and what a horrible port it is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oof. Ugh. So on a lighter note, it's not on my list yet, but another one that might be going on. I started Road Warden. I talked about it a couple weeks back, or last week
Mhm.
maybe.
Road Warrior, you mean?
Yeah, it's not Warrior. Sorry, audience, I said the wrong name. It's Road Warden. So I didn't have any context with what the game was. I just knew that it looked really cool and it was new, and I got it. It is a text adventure game.
Hmm.
Um, you can use a mouse to select your options, but essentially you're playing a text adventure, and it has a limited amount of graphics to sort of show you the area you're at, but you're picking options. You're not actively playing games. Like,
Right.
and to be honest, I have quite enjoyed it so far. So,
I'm gonna have to run to the bathroom quick.
sure, I'll keep talking about it. Um, so in this text adventure game, you play as it's this fictional world that it's like super dark and super um dangerous. So you're in this untamed wilderness that people have settled in, but they're having problems with zombies, werewolves, monsters, dragons, thieves, bandits. It's kind of like a very dire D&D world. And you are a road warden who is basically someone who goes around and makes sure that the roads are safe for people to travel in between towns. And it is not a safe job. You don't make a lot of money, but it is this text adventure, there you meet a lot of characters, and you start with a lot of management that is important. You have to manage your armor. You have to manage your health. So like uh you have to manage your nourishment, like how much food you have. You have to manage like how clean and dirty you look to other people, because you'll have like people will not act like if you just smell terrible, which can happen pretty easily, people are less likely to want to talk and work with you. So there's all this kind of interplay of, also a management game on top of the text adventure, which is interesting. So I was just explaining that there's a lot of things that you have to keep track of in the game.
Hmm.
Food, cleanliness. So like if you're dirty and smelly, people don't want to talk to you as much. Um,
I mean, realistic, yeah.
yeah, your armor and your health. And the more, and like it's pretty simplified. It's not like, oh, good, bad, poor. It's like literally like a pie chart of like four pieces, and
Hmm.
there's a secret fifth piece, which is it being empty. And then if you take another hit and when it's empty, it's like gone or dead or whatever. So
Right.
my vitality is 0 right now. If I take another hit, I'm dead in the game. Um, and it's a really interesting setting. Like I explained to the audience while you were gone, very dark D&D style, dragons, goblins, and stuff. But it's very dire. You're not some like bad A hero. You're like a dude that is hired to take care of the roads with these things. And yes, you are better at taking care of these things than other people, but you still have to. Like I ran across a group of goblins, and I was like,
Hmm.
I'm going to try to scare them off. And then one of the goblins came out of the bushes and stabbed me in the back and broke my armor. And then the options were like run or fight and die. It's like literally it says fight and die. And I'm like, I guess run. I guess I'm running on the horse. So it is a very interesting and very like uh I would say dire game. Like that's the way I can describe it, is dire.
Hmm.
Because like I ran across a wolf, one wolf, and it was like a knock him drag him out fight with this wolf. I lost all of my armor. I lost all of my vitality. But goodness gracious, did I kill that wolf? And its head is sitting on my horse. Like the Witcher, like where he cuts off the
Yeah.
head and it's hanging off the horse. So, and then like you can't be out during the night because the night is like super dangerous.
Dark and full of terrors.
So you have to find shelter. And like I ran across like a guard that wouldn't let me in an area like right like 15 minutes before night, and time goes by 15-minute intervals. And I was like, please let me in, like I'm going to die if you don't, kind of thing. And like I eventually did get
Hmm.
in. um it was just, yeah, it's just all sorts of crazy. It's a big mystery of like you gotta help people and stuff. And I only played 2 hours. Like I got all of this out of 2 hours of play. Like it is deep. It is a deep game,
Yeah.
and the graphics are very simplistic, extremely so. It's just I prefer a more active combat system, but it very much reminds me of the old D&D pick your adventure stuff.
Hmm.
So I'm into it.
Yeah. I also didn't realize, but it looks like Shovel Knight Dig is already out too.
Yes, it is. I got it. Not this Wednesday, the Wednesday before.
Hmm.
I think it's the day it came out. So that's a roguelike for Shovel Knight. And I've lightly been playing that. I've been mostly playing Bayonetta. Oh, I also picked up 6 games this week.
Hmm.
5 of which are on Switch and on PS5. So Severed Steel, which is a first person kind of thing on PS5. It's also on
Hmm.
Switch and other things, but it's I don't know. It's akin to Ghost Runner. You remember me talking about Ghost Runner?
I
Hot,
believe so. Yeah.
yeah, high action first person kind of deal.
Hmm.
Then I picked up there's an Oddworld collection on Switch that has Munch's Odyssey, Stranger's Wrath, and New and Tasty. I didn't need New and Tasty. I already have a New and Tasty, but I've never played Munch's
Hmm.
Odyssey and Stranger's Wrath, so I got that. I picked up like a special edition of. I already own the game, but it has all the DLC, which I don't have. Hollow Knight. So the Metroidvania that I quit
Yeah.
a long time ago. Um, so I picked up that. I picked up Later Alligator, which is like a story game about this alligator in this community of alligators. It's a weird, quirky animal thing. Um, Splatoon 3. People have been wanting to play that with me, so I picked up Splatoon 3. And then I also picked up crap, what was it? Um I can't see it. I picked up something else. I don't remember.
I almost also got a additional copy of 4 Ultimate, but I resisted because
I'd
they
have,
also had that for reasonably cheap.
I'd have done it. I mean, I only have one copy of Fuller Ultimate right now. It's the one I don't have multiples of right now.
Hmm. I mean, it's the one you like the least too.
No, that's not true. The one I like the least is Base World before Iceborne. Um, but that's because of the number of monsters. I'd probably say try as well.
Fair enough.
I like 4 Ultimate. I just don't like Apex at all.
Hmm.
Um, gosh, that's gonna kill me. What was the other game I picked up? It wasn't some indie game.
Barbie's Dream House.
That's an indie game.
No,
uh,
I don't know.
I'm gonna look because it's gonna kill me if I don't look. So I'll be right back. All right, I got it. It was Bug Snacks
Bug Snacks.
for Switch.
Hmm.
So I want to play all of these at some point. So that's another reason why I was like, there's just not enough room in the top 5. I just need a top 10.
Hmm.
I need it. So I'm probably going to play and finish Bayonetta 2. And then I'm probably going to split focus between Road Warden and all these other games I picked up. And I still have to do Andromeda as well. Like Andromeda is in that mix as well. And then, like I said,
Hmm.
Deathloop. Possibly the Horizon games if I get to them. Like, it's just, there's a long list. And I was hoping to play Octopath Traveler again at some point before Octopath Traveler 2 comes out, which I think is February. So,
Oh, also, I should let you know. I will probably have to bow out for next weekend on the episode. We
okay,
got baby shower after
awesome.
uh, I finish with work, and then we're also doing maternity photos. So,
Okay. I would never do maternity photos myself, but good luck with that. I won't judge you for doing that, obviously, but like, I don't know.
well, they're not necessarily going to involve me, but I can be there to assist with carrying stuff and whatnot.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. Now you're talking like you're not talking ultrasounds. You're talking just like a professional photographer. Here's what you are when you're pregnant. That's what I'm understanding, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. My ex-wife liked to do stuff like that, so I tend not to like that.
fair enough.
Not for you, for me personally. I would not like that
Hmm.
personally. Um, yeah, and all that mentioning of games, I still didn't mention Elden Ring, even though I beat it. Like I know most
Hmm.
people are gonna say Elden Ring was their best game of the year, but like Everyone, you need to play more games. If Elden Ring's
Yeah.
your best game of the year, you need to play more games. Like, I'm sorry. They're good. There's a lot of good design that goes into those games. They're not particularly interesting. This is a personal opinion, obviously, but I'm not hooked by those kind of games, and they're not going to be what's top of my list ever. Even aside from Sekiro I think did top my list that year.
Mm,
That was it. That's the only From Software game that is probably ever going to top my list.
right.
So, um, well, today's like kind of a rambly episode, but honestly, the news ones, like I said, are always the worst for me because like I have so little time, especially today, to look at stuff. Outside
Well,
of
there's
like,
also not consistently major news.
no, there's
So,
not. I mean, I think the biggest news this week was the Mario movie, right? Like
mhm,
the first official teaser trailer is what they called it, but
yeah.
our first look and you know get to hear how Bowser and Mario sound. Um, I did like how the Koopa introduced Bowser. I did like
Hmm.
the Magic Koopa's introduction. Um, and how the Koopas were very afraid of Bowser as he's walking through. Like
Right.
it was some good cartoonish personality there that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I just haven't. I'm probably gonna play more Bayonetta tonight. I don't know. I might do more Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter's become my podcast game for now because I don't have to
Hmm.
think. I'm just hunting while I'm listening to something. So
Yeah.
I'll eventually get those crowns, but I'm not near as driven as I was because of the end game content.
Fair
Yeah,
enough. I will say I've definitely been feeling burnout from the Curio investigations. So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I can't disagree.
yeah, even with four people, I feel like they take a while sometimes. So,
They do. They really do. I just it's like it's like this wonderful milkshake being topped by a dog turd in my opinion. Like it just ruins it. It really does.
I'd maybe just say sour candy. I wouldn't go to that extreme.
No, for me it's a dog turd. For me it's like full on like a blinky turd right there, dog. Like I just I've been more vehemently disappointed. Oh, I haven't shown you. Sauce is the only person that's seen this. Keep forgetting. Monster Hunter Rise candy.
I think I've seen those.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
I still haven't eaten it yet. I will eventually. They're supposed to be mega potions
Mm.
because it shows potion plus honey, the symbol on it.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see. Still haven't eaten them though.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, Japanese candies are usually pretty good. I've enjoyed them when I've gotten them from like the Asian food market and stuff here in
well,
town.
we don't have that thing. I'm not in a big city like you, so my friend Jared got me that.
I mean, we're a decent sized city, but I wouldn't say we're a big city.
Yeah, I mean, you're outside of what? Milwaukee, right?
I mean, Milwaukee, Madison, and I'd say arguably Appleton are bigger cities than Green Bay. Plus, there's like La
Sorry,
Crosse and Eau
Green Bay.
Claire.
Green Bay. Sorry, you're in Green Bay. So
Hmm.
I know about Green Bay and the other one I said that I've already forgotten.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. That's it. And that's because of sports teams. That's it. Like, so I'm not very versed on Wisconsin geography, but
The Wisconsin Badgers. They're the college team in Madison at UWM.
okay. I,
Well, University of Wisconsin Madison. A lot of people refer to University of Wisconsin Milwaukee as UWM.
okay. So, Ohio has a lot of big cities and a lot
Yep.
of rural cities because we have Cleveland, Toledo, Columbus, Cincinnati. So four
Hmm.
major cities, and Dayton probably being another one. Um,
Akron.
I don't know how much of a big city Akron really is, but it's known. I would say that. I don't know how big Akron is. I've never been to Akron, so
Uh,
but I've never been to Cleveland either, honestly, or Toledo. But I know they're huge. I know Cleveland's huge. Um,
I think we maybe. Well, I have to look at the map again. I think we've maybe driven through Cleveland on our way to summer camp one year.
it would be in the
Akron,
northern part.
Ohio, just shy of 200,000 population.
Mm. I mean, uh, but I would say there's a lot of cities in Ohio.
Hmm.
I'm gonna look up Chillicothe because I know it's whoo. That's a lot less than I thought. Yeah. So Chillicothe, where I'm, at, uh, that's only 21,000 according to the 2020 census. So
Yeah,
that
Green Bay, 107,000. So decently sized, but I wouldn't say big city.
hmm yeah, but I mean, I've not been to. We're not talking about big cities. Like I don't think Columbus stacks up to something like, and I would say probably Columbus or Cincinnati being two of the bigger ones. I wouldn't say they stack up to something like Chicago or something like that, like a mega city like that, but
Yeah,
or Atlanta. So I don't really, I don't have context for any Wisconsin cities other than maybe Ohio City. So I assume I assume that Milwaukee is probably about the size of Columbus. I don't know.
Milwaukee is like about 30,000 shy of 600,000.
Okay.
What lovely tangents we get into on the show.
Yes, I know. So it is almost 900,000 in Columbus. Almost.
Pretty decent size. Cleveland, 372,000 about, so smaller than Milwaukee. So
Yeah. Okay. Of
uh,
all the things I'm looking up, I all of them have been like, yeah, you're talking about that city, right? You're talking about this city. Oh my goodness. Cincinnati's a lot smaller. I didn't realize that. Only
so
302,000.
uh,
But Cincinnati also has this thing where it shares a lot of it's a bigger city than it would look because there's a lot of cities that are in Indiana and Kentucky that commute and work with Columbus. That's why it's called the tri-state area. So
yeah. If
Cincinnati itself is
if you
bigger than the numbers imply.
yeah if you also look up top drinking cities in the U.S., I'm pretty sure around half a dozen or more are Wisconsin cities that pop up on that list.
Let's do it. Top drinking cities
Because
in America.
there'll be Green Bay, Oshkosh, Madison, uh, I believe Fond du Lac or Appleton are on there, possibly La Crosse.
Fargo, okay, Green Bay. Green Bay's on
Yep.
there. Eau Claire, another
Eau Claire, yeah.
Wisconsin. Appleton, Wisconsin. Uh, okay, so that's Montana. So, okay, in the top six, you have four so far.
Yeah, sounds right.
Uh, okay, Sheboygan.
Yep.
Uh, okay, that's an Iowa one. What the? I'm trying. What? Oh, it's a Fairbanks, Alaska makes the list.
Oh, cool.
Interesting. So that's the top nine ish. It's saying on Google, and of the nine, you have five. So that makes sense. All right.
Yeah. You should also now look up Wisconsin town and city names, and I can correct your pronunciation of them.
I think I did Sheboygan. Okay.
Yeah, Sheboygan was fine. Eau Claire, though, that was one.
Wisconsin Dells, Green Bay, Appleton, Eau Claire,
Eau Claire.
Lacrosse,
La Crosse, yeah.
Lake Geneva, Kenosha.
Kenosha, yes.
Okay. All right. All right. This is like the Monster Hunter one. Wausau?
Wausau.
Wausau? Okay. All right. I'm going to lose on this one. Racine?
Yeah, Racine.
Okay. Oshkosh. No, but that one's easy.
Yeah.
Waukesha. That
Yeah.
Waukesha is very Native American, so I can get that one. Janesville, Sheboygan, Beloit,
Yep.
Fond du Lac,
Fond du Lac.
Fond du Lac. So Brookfield, not that. Stevens Point. Oh my gosh, Manitowoc.
Yeah, you actually got that one well
Again,
enough.
this is Native American stuff, so like I can because Manitowoc. The word for Great Spirit is Kiji Manitou. So Manitowoc is
Hmm.
spelled very similar to Manitou.
Hmm.
New Berlin. Oh my gosh, Baraboo.
Baraboo.
Baraboo. Okay. Middleton, Sun Prairie, Chippewa Falls. That one's easy. Rice Lake. Okay. Toma. Oh my gosh. Menominee.
I've not heard of that one. No.
Okay.
Are you just looking at it like at the map or?
No, this is just like a list of just like down the list of cities.
Oh, gotcha.
There's like Onatoska. Holy shit! What is this one? Oconomowoc.
Oconomowoc.
I was close. Yeah, Okana. Okay. Whew. Okay. Well, the reason why they're weird is because they're Algonquin sounding, but
Hmm.
I'm my tribe was Algonquin speakers, so not really. I'm glad I'm doing well on it. I don't know Algonquin per se, but I've heard a lot of the words. So okay,
Hmm.
that's all I'll do. We're good. That's a good.
I was gonna say keep going down the O's because I was gonna advise you about the Wisconsin that comes out. So there's
Mm-hmm.
technically Oconto and Oconto Falls
Oconto.
up
Okay.
near us. A lot of people though, with the Skansen accident,
Uh-huh.
will pronounce it Ocano.
Ocano.
So
Yeah.
just completely leave out the T.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we get so here in Southern Ohio, we'll start to get some of that Kentucky accent bleeding in with people.
Hmm.
So so people like to insert R's in words here that don't have R's. So
Right.
the washer machine. gonna go wash my clothes. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
the drawl.
yeah. And I'm like, there's no R in wash, okay? It's just not a thing. Please. Stop it. My good buddy, he says that. Wash. He's just
I mean, that linguistics and accents and pronunciation is something that people always make fun of.
sure,
Like
yeah.
there's the meme of uh making fun of like British people
Yeah.
where they're like, "Oh, it's Tuesday, isn't it?"
In it.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh boy. I will say one thing that I've always thought was interesting is because I have more of a Columbus accent in Ohio, and
Hmm.
a lot of people say who have been linguists and stuff is that if you want to learn English without an accent, go to Columbus, Ohio, because like it's the most flat accent that exists in the United States. So uh,
I mean,
I have a boring
there's
non-accent. I'm sorry.
well, there's all the. I mean, that tracks because there's all the memes about like, "Oh no, I'm being taken to Ohio. Oh no, I'm going through Ohio," and stuff like that. I'm like,
I
what's
hate those memes. I hate them. I I legitimately love the state that I live in. I was actually talking about this with the girls today because when we drove to the Renaissance Fair. It was about an hour 20 to get there,
hmm
and we took a not conventional route. No, it's not like we still were taking highways and stuff, but it wasn't freeways, right? So we
hmm
were just rural highways, and you there was a lot of, and it's turning fall, so there's a lot of really beautiful trees and stuff along the whole way. And Cece was like, "Wow, this looks so nice." And I'm like, "Yeah, because you're where you guys live in Dayton, it's all just fucking farmland." I didn't say that, didn't say the F word to my daughter, but um it's just flat and boring, and that's the way it is around Columbus, that's the way it is around Dayton. But you get in
hmm
anywhere in southern Ohio, Cincinnati even. Cincinnati's a beautiful city. I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's like nature throughout the whole city. Like,
I know that we passed through Cincinnati on our way to a summer camp in Virginia, or on our way back.
right, but aside from like downtown, which downtown still has trees and stuff, more curated stuff, but like if you're in Cincinnati outside of it, like it's still considered Cincinnati, but like hills, trees, it's like you're going through a small town. It looks like in parts of Cincinnati. Like it's just,
Mm.
and I love that nature is a big thing here in southern Ohio. Um, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but I got some attention for the picture I took on the flood wall. It's inside of
hmm
Chillicothe. That's in the city limits, and it's looking at Chillicothe on the most busiest street in Chillicothe, Bridge Street. Now you wouldn't know it on Bridge Street. It would look like a normal small town main drag where there's a bunch of stores, and the heck, that's where I could probably point to you on that thing just behind those trees. There's a Walmart there. Like it doesn't, but it looks really good, and because the Scioto River runs through the city, and I was up on the flood wall for the river on one side of it, and I just had a really good picture in the morning. So
hmm
I just and that was I think I took that picture Monday morning, and I posted it Wednesday morning because I posted it, and then like I posted it, I realized I posted it about where I was and where I took the picture. I was like, oh well, that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
um, like I don't know, I really like my state as far as like just the aesthetics and that kind of stuff. So I really like it here, and usually politically, but we're not always the best politically sometimes. So
I mean, that can be said of any state, really.
yeah, it's true. It's true. So, uh, I have exhausted most of everything I wanted to talk about today. What about yourself?
I mean, we're talking about states and
States.
and
Yeah.
city names and whatnot, so I think you know where I sit right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So next week we won't have you, but hopefully we'll have both Ace and Sasha back. And then we'll do,
Morgan. Morgan
Ace.
Sasha.
Yeah, Ace is you. That's right. Morgan
I was
Sasha
like,
back.
have you cloned me?
No, because you were out 2 weeks, so I was like, I
Yeah,
was used to saying when we get Ace back, so it was Ace and
right.
Morg. Now it's Morgan Sasha. Now, uh, gosh, when's the last time I took a week off for the podcast? I think it was last September. Yeah,
You could always take a week off if you need to, man.
I don't
Or if
need.
you
I
just
don't, dude.
feeling like it.
The next 2 weeks, I don't have the girls. I'm just gonna be doing nothing. Like, so I need to have the podcast the next 2 weeks to give me some focus, uh, at least. So yeah. So next week we probably won't do the Monster Hunter thing without you. We'll probably delay that, so we'll probably just make it once again a grab bag week.
Hmm.
And then
Fair enough.
if we can get Morg, we'll do the Monster Hunter thing the week after. He's been hard to get a hold of. I mean, he's not been on in feels like 2 months now. Feels like it. Could be a
Let me
month,
just...
but
Yeah, and then I'll probably be able to make it the week after next week
yeah, it's a good
because
month.
they're planning on / wanting to induce Andrea on the 24th, which is a Monday,
Oh.
but she wants to wait until the 31st, so we'll have to see how things shake out
Mm-hmm. Good luck with that.
or birth out, as it were.
Yeah, you're gonna be in the room.
Plan to be. I
Okay.
mean, I'm not usually too squeamish at stuff, but I would also say that I've never witnessed a live birth, so who knows?
I was there for both of them. It was. I did throw up on the second one, but that was unrelated to the birth itself. Um,
Ah.
that was the epidural.
Hmm.
She wanted to get one. She was like, the first one, she's like, I don't want to do it. I want to do this natural as possible. And she was talking about water births and all this stuff. And second one, she was like, now. I'm not even waiting now. And I'm like, all right,
Hmm.
fine. Whatever you want to do. I'm here to support. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna run the show. Um, the second one, and they tell you the same thing every time they do it because they're injecting it into your spinal cord. They say no sudden movements because it's your spinal cord, right? Like
Right.
you could end up paralyzed or whatever. So they stick it in. I guess it was cold or something, and she jumps like she's scared. And
Ooh.
I went from okay to face fully flushed, burning red, and just fear because I was like,
Yeah.
I now have 2 kids and a paralyzed wife. Like that was my immediate thought, like already.
Yeah.
So about 15 minutes of me just like I just burning hot, and then I threw up, and then I was fine after that.
Oof.
But I let her mom cut the cord and hold Emery for the first time, and because I did that with Cece, but I let
Hmm.
her mom do that, who was also in the room, and she was super thankful and stuff, and was like, I just don't want to throw up on the kid. Like I've done this before. Like
Yeah, we'll see. I obviously I don't have experience with it, so I don't know if I have a strong constitution towards that type of thing or not. We'll see.
I normally do.
Plus,
It
like,
was the epidural that did it to me. Like that like the thought of having to take care of her being paralyzed and the kids was just too much at that moment for me. She wasn't
mhm.
paralyzed obviously, but like my brain just couldn't handle the her jumping. That was like the only problem I had, like the funny one when Cece was born, my first one, like I was, holding onto her leg and stuff while she's pushing, and like I'm just like focusing on holding onto her leg, and the baby comes out, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm just like, now, like this flat, just like, all right, it's here, cool. Like, but that's the way I take super serious situations because like they're heavy, right? Like I don't get it stressed out, but I'm also just like level headed about it, and I'm just like, all right, cool. Here, Cece's here. We're good. Like
Mm-hmm.
things are good. And then everyone was getting mad at me because they thought I was supposed to be like in tears with joy or something, and I was just like, no, I'm happy. I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
so don't be surprised how you act when it happens. Like, don't get caught up in what other people think you should feel because it is a heavy thing to be responsible for a life. I mean, you have Jack, obviously, but
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know how it's different with Jack versus you know watching someone come
From
into the world.
from the start.
Right, yeah, from day zero to, but you knew Jack before, everything as well, I assume. So,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. It'll be a fun experience. I can't wait to hear when you get back.
Yeah, I assume I'll have wild bags under my eyes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One thing I will say, and I am not lying when I say this, babies suck. I hate babies. Like, I loved my
I mean,
daughters, but them being babies, that there's a reason why people call people being a baby because it sucks.
it is what it is. I had some direct experience because I have a baby brother.
Yeah.
So, like when I was in middle school in like 2000, well, like early 2007
Mm-hmm.
is, well, summer 2007 is when he was born. Um, so I was in middle school,
Yeah.
like just in middle school around that time, I believe. So I got to have fun with changing diapers and all that and
That was my
bottles and whatnot.
that was my first full year of college.
And then it was fun. I guess sort of similar but different to your potential paralysis thing
Mm-hmm.
around Christmas time when he was like 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that. He was running around the house with an elf hat on his head, but it had fallen down and was covering his eyes, and he ran directly into a bookshelf and hit right on the corner of it with like his
Temple.
his eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a gash in that had to get stitches, and like he was crying and I was freaking out, and I was like obviously like a kid and didn't have any
Mm-hmm.
experience with injuries like that, much less a family member directly. So I like in panic like yelled at him, and then like my dad at the time was like yelled back at me, and I was like, "Fire free, get out of here!"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's a stressful situation for sure. Jeez.
Yeah, because like I was trying to hold like a paper towel or like a uh, cloth on it to hold back the bleeding, and
Yeah.
he was like trying to push it away from me and like having a tantrum while being upset about the pain. Probably, I
Yeah.
was like, "Stop! I'm trying to help."
Yeah.
Obviously, that I just all I could manage was like, "Stop!"
Yeah. Yeah. Jeez. Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be a ride.
Hmm.
I up until uh I was the one that got up every night when the girls got up in the middle of the night. We were supposed to trade off, but my ex being who she is, it was just me. So
Hmm. Well, I've
yeah.
been sleeping better because I've got a CPAP machine, so I should be able to assist frequently.
Hmm.
Whereas when I didn't have it, I would just be exhausted
Sure.
and sleep past some alarms. There were quite a few times where I came right up to like, while working at home, right up to like a couple of minutes before the start of my shift. Be like, oh, hey, cool. And a few times where I overslept on Saturday mornings. So,
Yeah.
but, but this is helping me, and I'm doing a lot better. So,
It's good. Alrighty. Well, so that'll be it for tonight, folks. Be sure to follow us at HunterSubPod on Twitter, and then also here on Twitch. And next week, I think we're going to do another wild card because of your absence, Ace. So we'll probably, I don't know what we'll do. Wild cards are, we figure them out the week of. So some sort of
mhm.
crazy topic. I had an idea for a wild card like a month ago, but I don't remember it now. I don't remember what it was. So I'll figure it out. So yeah, and then follow Ace at Ace Badger Gaming on Twitter and
Mhm.
also Instagram, um,
Tick, TikTok.
TikTok. Sorry,
I mean, I'm more so on Twitter, I would say. I've only made
I
like 3 videos so far, so
haven't made
I'm not
any.
chomping at the bit.
I figured out I have an Instagram because someone started to talk. One of my old coworkers wanted to talk to me on Instagram, so that's why it was stuck in my mind. She wants to
Mm.
send me memes, so
Ah,
she was sending me Instagram memes, which is fun, I guess. It was
gotcha.
one of them was you familiar with spreadsheets?
Like, just in the sense of what they are?
Yeah, or how to
Yeah.
use them per se. Uh,
Yeah.
so there was one. It was the birds, the seagulls from Finding Nemo, the mine birds.
Hmm.
They're like mine, mine, mine. So they all had hashtag ref on them. Ref. So, because like that ends up with half your spreadsheet sheet ends up being. So
Hmm.
it was, I don't know. That was a funny
Nice.
meme. So, alrighty. Well, we'll wrap it up there for tonight. Thanks everyone for tuning in and listening, and we'll catch you next week. Laters.
Bye.